Perry Aftab joins us in the Katie Green Room today. Perry is a lawyer, a child advocate, and an online safety expert. You are also on Facebook's Safety Advisory Board.
I am, and I'm the executive director of Wired Safety. We're the world's oldest and largest internet safety group.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Yesterday, Katie Couric tweeted and Facebooked out asking you all to let her know your biggest questions and concerns about children and online safety, and Perry's here to answer some of them. So to get into it, Heather asked, kids have to understand how easily predators lie online. If they don't actually know someone, they shouldn't be Facebook friends. On the subject, Stephanie said, kids and Facebook, one of her biggest issues. I will be all over my kids' Facebook pages when they're old enough to be on Facebook. Perry, what's your advice for parents on making Facebook as safe as possible for their kids?
Well, number one, they should keep them off of Facebook unless they're at least 13. The law says the kids aren't supposed to be there. Facebook says they're not supposed to be there. So if your kids are on Facebook and they're 10 years old, they had to lie about their age. So make sure they're not lying because they're not ready for it. If they're lying and saying they're 25 years old and they're communicating with some guy online who thinks they're 25 because they said so, you're going to have communications you're unhappy about, and so will he. So be honest, don't be there until you're old enough. Once you're there, understand the privacy settings. You can go to facebook.com/privacy, and they even have safety pages. It's a safety landing page where all of us in internet safety and all of us on the Facebook Safety Advisory Board provide information for parents and for young people themselves. The issue about don't be friends on Facebook if you don't know them in real life is good advice when the kids are younger. But part of the beauty of social networking when the kids get older is they might become friends with somebody who's across the country with similar interests. What they need to know is a Facebook friend is not a real life friend. So just because you're friending them on Facebook doesn't mean you're supposed to meet them in real life and take off your clothes and shoot pictures and send them across the country. So we need to be realistic about this. And I loved it when the parent said, when my kids are old enough. That's the kind of parent I need.
Yeah, that's half the battle, I'm sure. So on another subject, going off of Facebook, something that was also brought up today is parents need to know what social networks their kids are using. Rhonda says you should be used to social media yourself so you can understand how it works, the pluses and minuses. Lisa in Texas says, don't forget to specify the etc. So for us, she was saying Instagram, Kik are huge for kids who aren't on Facebook and Twitter yet. Do you have any social networks that parents should keep their eyes and ears out for kids talking about?
Well, I think instead of thinking about social networks that the kids are using and parents don't know about, let's talk about any technology that allows kids to share information, take pictures and share that, get content from others, spend money, or get advertised to. We call those content, contact, cost, or commercialism, the 3 C's. Keep that in mind. Any new technology, any new network that's going to come up tomorrow will fit within your rules. Figure out what you want your kids to do, and then we figure out where they're going. Instagram actually is Facebook. Facebook bought them and they own them. And there are a lot of them that are now owned under different brands by Google and Facebook and all of the rest. So rather than thinking about those specifically, sit down and say to your kids, give me a tour of your net. Give me a tour of your web. What do you use on your cell phone? What apps do you have? Apps can be far more risky than some of the social networks. We had a situation when there was an app that was a dating app for adults that somebody decided would be a great site for kids, and we had 3 kids raped because of people they met on that site. It was Scout. And so we're seeing a lot of that. So know that your kids aren't using the same stuff you are in the same way you are. You're not going to be able to use everything they do because you're not online 24/7. They are. So pick your battles, ask them to give you a tour. Play stupid. The good thing is we typically are stupid when it comes to how these technologies work, and say to your kids, show me how to set up my Facebook page. If they can tell you how to use the privacy settings, if they're comfortable about what you should or shouldn't do, you can be a lot more comfortable about what they're doing.
So your advice is that instead of being on Facebook, being on Twitter, being on Instagram, and kind of finding your kids that way and like spying on them essentially.
I wouldn't spy on them. I think you should have a Facebook account if your kids do, and you should be a friend. That said, a lot of parents are friends, and then they interrupt the conversation. It's kind of like having your mom sit down at your slumber party and play. You don't want them there, and then the kids will set up another Facebook account and lock you out entirely. So you can sit there, let them know that you are, and part of the terms are if they're going to have a Facebook page, you get to, but don't say anything. Don't interrupt the conversation. If you've got something to say to your kids, you say it offline, not on Facebook.
I think that's great advice. So Suzanne wants to know, should parents have access to passwords? Another parent on Twitter asked, or actually said she does surprise inspections so she can see the history on YouTube. on the internet. What is your advice for that? Do you think parents should do surprise inspections, have passwords?
I like spot checks. You pick it up and you look at it from time to time, especially cell phones, other devices where kids can take pictures. SpecterSoft, which we mentioned on the show, and you can go to spectersoft.com, has a product that will let you see what the kids are doing even if we're not there. So it'll do a spot check using technology and send you an email with the information you want. If your kids are talking to that Jeremy, you're going to know. If a 4-year-old needs surprise inspections, we're all in a lot of trouble. 4-year-old should be using the right kind of technology and not too much of it. We're seeing some new brain studies that are showing that it really does affect development and may lead to addiction in other ways. So choose the right technology, make sure it's fun, make sure that the kids play outside and have fun and laugh and do other things than just sit in front of a keyboard, no matter how big the keyboard is. I think that if you're going to do what your kids, look at what your kids are doing, unless your kids are at risk, drug use, runaways, cutting, that you should tell them what you're doing. Let them know that as a parent, you're going to do it. Don't be afraid of being a parent. The most important tip I can give parents at any of my sessions is you raise your hand in the air and you say, I am the parent because I said so. So I'm going to give everyone my mom's cell number, and you can call her and she'll tell you what she did to keep me in line.
Right, okay. And any of the resources that Perry mentions we'll have on katiecouric.com. So one of the big things that came up was, is it the parent's responsibility solely, or is it partially the school? This Twitter user is saying parents have to assume all control, but we actually had a teacher respond and say, I'm a middle school tech teacher. Before logging into a computer, students must master an internet safety digital citizen unit. Where's your stance on that?
Well, we run a digital literacy program at Wired Safety, so we've got it and it's free. We've got a $1.5 million toolkit on cyberbullying, totally free, so go to stopcyberbullying.org. It's designed for schools K through 12. There's some great assets out there, and teachers have to be involved, and so are parents. Our kids live in both worlds. When they're at school, the school needs to set the rules and enforce them. Parents need to know what they are, because if you're sending your kids to school with a cell phone, and the school said if they come to school with a cell phone, we're taking it, parents need to know about that. So they should be working together. When the kids are off premises after hours, the school doesn't have jurisdiction over what they're doing. If they're cyberbullying from home on a Sunday afternoon, the school can't do any more than they can if two kids get into a fist fight at my barbecue on a Sunday afternoon. Right. So we need to make sure the parents are involved and schools are involved. The secret weapon here is older kids. So what you need to do is find an older niece or nephew, cousins, next door neighbors, your babysitters, someone that you can go to be your translator, to help you if you don't know how to check what they're doing, to tell you what they're doing, to give them advice from a teen to teen perspective. That's crucial. We have a program called Teen Angels. They're teen internet safety experts, and Katie's daughter actually trained with us for a few weeks many, many years ago when she was at Spence School. Get teens, make them experts, have them help each other, and that will keep them all a lot safer.
Great. Perry, thank you so much. And you can find Perry on Twitter at PerryAftab and us at Katie Show and at Katie Couric.